AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Welcome to Complete BS, the official podcast of couch coaches everywhere. Not just football. It's every sport that ruins your parlay, wrecks your fantasy week, and still brings you back for more. Buzzer beaters, blown leads, and brackets in flames. Yeah, we're all over it. Unfiltered takes, armchair analysis, and enough bold opinions to fill a playbook. Hosted by Brian Schmuck, sports junkie, the Saban of stats, and your official voice of, I could coach better than that. Let's go.
Couch Coach Nation, we had America's game, Army versus Navy this past weekend. We also had the first bowl game of the season and a slew of awards given out, including the Heisman Trophy. AV, you ready to talk some football?
Let's go, man. Favorite time of year.
All right, well, let's take another spin on the coaching carousel, and this is a big one. We were all floored to find out that the Michigan job is open. We don't need to slide into all that unfolded to get this job open, but let's focus on the job itself now that it's open. Kalen DeBoer said he's got no interest in any other job other than Alabama. Kenny Dillingham's come out and he said the same thing. He's happy and Arizona State's everywhere he wants to be and a perfect place for him. I've seen Jeff Brom's name mentioned, but he got a raise and an extension already this cycle, and I don't really see that happening. I've seen Tommy Rees's name linked to the job, the Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator. He's been an OC at Notre Dame and Alabama. The two most obvious fits are Jed Fish at Washington, who spent 2 years as the Michigan quarterback coach under Jim Harbaugh, and Jesse Minter, who's the Chargers defensive coordinator, also under Harbaugh, and was the defensive coordinator of their 2023 national championship team. The Chargers, they're in the playoff mix, and Michigan, they've said they want their coach in place by the January 2nd portal date. So that would mean that Minter would have to leave the Chargers before their season ended. I could see Harbaugh wanting to maybe take care of Michigan and let him go. They do have other coaches on the Chargers defensive staff that could slide into that defensive coordinator role, but that's a big ask when you're thinking about, hey, your defensive coordinator is going to leave in the middle of a playoff run. Maybe Minter just wants to stay put and have a shot at an NFL job, which could be on the horizon for him. Jed Fish, though, he's open. Their season's done. They had their bowl game on Saturday. This might be the best chance for Michigan, because he's an offensive-minded coach, to keep Bryce Underwood. And if Underwood leaves, he could potentially bring his quarterback, Williams, with him, who's only a sophomore. For me, the biggest question on this whole job opening is who's making the hire. Ward Manuel, the athletic director, he's been the AD there while Michigan's gone through multiple scandals, and you got to wonder how much the president and the board is going to let him be involved with this. Or is he out of the mix and the job's being hired above him? So a lot to happen here. It'll be really interesting to see how this unfolds, because we're at the tail end of the cycle. AV, your thoughts on this Michigan job opening?
Yeah, I mean, there's no clear-cut person that you just kind of plug and play in there that makes sense to anybody. You look at it and you wonder, who's the Michigan man that they're going to target? Would they target, or would they have a chance at like a Kurt Cignetti? I mean, Cignetti said he's not leaving, but Michigan's a big job. I don't know who else. Who else is out there that makes sense? I mean, are they going to go the coordinator route? I don't think so, but that might be all they have to choose from at this point. I don't know, man. It's a mess up there. It's going to get messier. I don't think they're going to get a big name head coach, big splashy hire. They're probably just going to hire someone to come in and right the ship and steady it a little bit, but really sad situation and a big mess in Michigan.
I'll tell you one name I would look at if they're kind of striking out and they're not getting where they want to go. Mike Hart, he was on the staff. He's a Michigan man. He was with Michigan for a long time. He's an offensive analyst with Eastern Michigan. So it's not a sexy hire. It's not a big name or anything like that, but it's one of those names that I would just file away in the back of your mind. I'm not saying this is where they're going, but if they can't find someone that they're looking for, it might be something where they just put Mike Hart in there because they're going to get him at a discount, try it out, and they're probably going to be back in the cycle next year. Similar to what Stanford did this year, they brought someone in, they made him the interim for the entire year, and now Stanford then went this cycle to find a head coach. Michigan might be in that same boat, and Mike Hart's maybe a steady hand that knows Michigan that could do it, but that's a little bit further on down the road.
I can see them doing that. It might not be a bad idea. They could also go the NFL route, Joe Brady or somebody like that. We'll see. I think the interim idea for an entire year makes sense, but that's a tough sell to the crowd, so we'll see.
America's game, we've got Navy beating Army 17-16. This was a good game. It always is when these two teams get together. Both teams passed for 82 yards, but Navy outrushed the Army by 70. Navy held the ball for 9 more minutes, and each team threw an interception. Navy coughed up 1 fumble. The first quarter was really fun, though. You got Navy going 13 plays for almost 8 minutes on a drive to score a touchdown, and then Army comes back and responds with their own 13-play drive that took us all the way into the second quarter, and we've got a 7-7 game. Navy had a 3-and-out that led to another long drive for Army, and they got a field goal, and then a costly fumble led to another field goal, and Army was up 13-7 at the half. Navy's first possession in the second half, they threw an interception, and Army turned that into 3 points, and we're at 16-7. And you got to wonder on the Navy sideline if they're thinking, what's going on? We can't get things going in our favor. Navy finally got another long drive for a field goal and an Army interception. They had a 9-play drive that capped off a touchdown to give Navy the win. A lot of back and forth in this game. It looked like Army had control for the longest time, but then Navy comes back late. AV, how do you enjoy the Army-Navy game?
It was great. It was one of the better games of November and December. I think Navy's the more talented, kind of the better team, and the better team tends to have better luck. That's just how it seems to play out, but Navy has some fortune, man. I think it was the go-ahead touchdown when they were on 1st and goal. They fumble the ball. The Army guy picks it up and looks like he's going to run 99 yards. And as he's about to take off, a guy on the ground strips the ball and recovers it. And they end up scoring 3 downs later on 4th down and taking the lead. And then when they're milking the clock, Horvath fumbles as he's trying to run, and he catches it in midair and then fumbles again, but they said it was down. So some real key plays that both went Navy's way there at the end to help them win. But that was part of the excitement, man. It's a really good game.
The nightcap was our first bowl game of the season, the LA Bowl. Washington won 38-10. Boise State threw 5 picks, and this game was 38-3 before a late Boise State touchdown. 3 of those picks did come in the fourth quarter when Boise State was just trying to pass and get a touchdown on the board. That was the story for Boise State. They couldn't get their offense going at all Saturday night. They had 7 drives of 4 or fewer plays. This was all Washington. Now they need to turn their attention to trying to hang on to their head coach, as we talked about earlier.
This was garbage time at halftime. I don't know if he got hurt, but then Boise pulled their starting quarterback, Madsen, and played the second-string quarterback the whole second half. But he threw some interceptions, a couple of bad ones, but he actually looked pretty good. But, yeah, that game was over. They kept turning the ball over. I'm surprised it didn't get away from them a little more than 38-3, to be honest. But it's kind of the opposite of Army-Navy. The game was over at halftime, and you knew who was going to win.
Well, Saturday night, we also had the Heisman Trophy presentation. It went to Fernando Mendoza. You know, he wasn't my pick. It's who I thought was probably going to win after the Big Ten championship game. But I still think that Jeremiyah Love's the best player in college football, and Diego Pavia had the best quarterback stats. So if I had a vote, Mendoza would have been third on my ballot. AV, your thoughts on the Heisman?
It's always a weird award to me. Every voter, I guess, has their own standards. So is it the best player? I would have voted Jeremiyah Love. A lot of people think it is, or at least some people think it is the best player because Jeremiah Smith got 4 first-place votes and finished 6th. But he might be the best player. So there goes that. So, and then there's like a weighted scale for quarterbacks because they're a premium position. So quarterbacks win it all. And I think that's how Mendoza ended up winning it. He was the quarterback on the best team. So the premium position on the most successful team. And that's fine with me. It shakes out that way. I think Jeremiyah Love's the best player in college football. I don't mind Pavia or Mendoza winning. I'm glad Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech got some votes. He finished 5th. So overall, I thought it was pretty fair. Everybody has their own favorite, and you can split hairs on who deserves it, but nobody really knows the criteria they're using. So I have no problem with it. I was glad to see Mendoza win it, to be honest.
We do have a couple bowl games here before we come to you on Thursday with our next episode. So let's take a look at the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Troy versus Jacksonville State. Troy is a 2.5-point favorite. This game's being played in Alabama. Both teams are from Alabama, so there's not really a home field advantage. Cam Cook, he leads the nation with 1,659 yards rushing. He's also got 16 touchdowns for Jacksonville State, so I'm going with Jack State. Then on Wednesday, we've got 2 games. The Cure Bowl, Old Dominion versus South Florida. USF's a 3.5-point favorite. This game was a 7.5-point game favoring USF before Byron Brown announced that he wasn't going to play, but neither is Old Dominion's quarterback Colton Joseph, who's going to be a hot name in the transfer portal. I'll go with USF just having more athletes to get the win. And then we've got Louisiana versus Delaware. Louisiana's a 3-point favorite. This is Delaware's first year in the FBS. So for no other reason, I'm giving them the pick to get their first ever bowl win. We'll be back on Thursday with more bowl game picks and previewing the opening round of the college football playoffs. Join us at CouchCoachNation.com, and you can follow the Complete BS Pod on X and Instagram. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to Complete BS. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us online. And tell us what you think of this episode. Use hashtag CouchCoachNation, and let's keep the conversation going.